Hey, and welcome to the second video of building a Christmas park. First of all, this episode is a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I was originally aiming for hopefully under 30 minutes, however, as you can see, I have not been able to do that. We just are working on quite a few things this episode, moving all around the plaza and even finishing up that cafe I was talking about in the last episode. Right now, currently, we're working on connecting these string lights to the building. I do think I'll probably add one more lamppost with string lights in this plaza, but other than that, this is pretty much it. The method I use to get them in this rotating pattern, almost like a upside down dome or a half circle, is actually, I'm pretty sure it's called the dome method, where you design what you want and then flip it and copy it over to the other side. And then because it uses the average position of the pieces, the rotation point will be in the middle of those pieces. So you just rotate it right there, and then you're able to get a nice dome. And in this case, I actually made an upside down dome. Now we are adding wall anchor points to these lights, so it looks like it can kind of actually be connected to the wall. Now, these aren't really perfectly placed, however, you're not going to be able to see it up close very much anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. Now, using these art shapes as snow on the ground again, I did see in a recent Rudy video on his Blizzard Beach Sicily edition that he used the Viking rock wall as snow. He just colored it white and there was like more of a texture and more abstract shapes. And while I do think it looked really good in this park, I don't think the like square nature of the Viking pieces would necessarily fit with what I want to do with like large snow piles, which is general ground cover. And then also his decals that he used, his Grinch decals, they looked nice, but in the scenery brush, you can't recolor them. So ultimately, I think I'm gonna stick with using the art shapes until we eventually get snow pieces from Frontier. Please, Frontier. Then I'll come back and replace everything with snow. Anyways, enough ranting about snow. We are currently working on a place for firewood next to this building. So obviously, to keep your fireplaces nice and warm, you would have just like a nice little place for firewood and of course cover so that they don't get wet. Originally, when I was planning that firewood section, I really hoped that the logs would look like they just got cut up, but there's no logs that looked like that, and I think that art shapes would look kind of weird. Anyways, copying over this gelato stand all over this like little marketplace area, you can kind of like imagine if the local Renaissance fair was happening here. This would be where like that little marketplace area is, where they would sell all their jewelry or medieval stuff. But for this Christmas time fair thing, we're just gonna be making it for food. Now we're adding in a bunch of places where you can get food. I do come back and add two different food stores in here so that the guests might actually interact with this marketplace a little bit. I do think that I forgot to add benches around here, so I will come back either in the next video or off camera to add those benches. Anyways, you can see me right now adding in, I believe, a slushy stand and of course a Viva La Vegan stand over at the Viva La Vegan place. And then we have to add power in order to get these shops to actually function. That power station to the left won't, it's not the final place, just temporary for now. I will go back and make a more permanent spot for that when I eventually work on the Christmas carnival, either in the fourth or fifth episode. Now it's time for my favorite part of the episode, working on the North Cafe. Now, just getting the window design that we actually end up with was really difficult because I noticed before I built it, I was going to have to make this completely custom, or at least like that entire wall completely custom. But after finishing building it, I noticed that I could have just used the like coaster doorway piece that's half a wall on one side and then like a quarter of the height on the top. I could have just used that piece because as you can see, I put in that quarter height. However, in order to get it perfectly how I wanted it to be like, making it completely custom was necessary. So it wasn't a complete waste of time. Now we're beginning to work on the windows. And one thing to note at the moment, there are no glass in any of the windows, and that's because there's no glass in the game yet. We will be getting it sometime before or on the December update that is coming in December. I am really excited for that update, and when it comes out, I will come back to this building and add the glass to all of the windows and the doors. Now that we are finishing up this end of the building, I am looking for a column or support beam that would realistically be on the corner of this building. At first, I tried the resort column. However, I really just didn't really like it because of the rope, and I actually settled on this mythology marble column. Now it's time for my favorite part, copying everything and moving it to the other side. Honestly, I was not excited for this park because not only could I miss something and then like have to recopy everything again, but the like shift select tool in this game sucks. Like if you accidentally hold it a little bit too long, then it will just completely deselect everything. And it's because you can't hold and drag and select something multiple times. Like once you hold and drag, you're done. Like that's your selection. You can click, you can shift click more things, but you can't hold and drag again like how you were able to in the first game. So selecting multiple things at once has kind of become really annoying to do, which really does suck because it's such a prominent feature in this game. Now we're working on the front door. And I don't know if I got this somewhere. I'm pretty sure I came up with the idea. I might be wrong though. But I thought of using TV anchors as the door handles. Now right now it looks kind of weird because it's just like floating there. However, once the glass gets put in this building, then we will have it looking much nicer. If there's one thing that I find weird about Planet Coaster 2, it's that you don't, at least not at like first view, you don't have the option to move picnic tables or seats or trash cans in advanced move. You just don't have that option. However, if you use the multi select tool, then you can move benches, tables, and trash cans using advanced move. And also, another problem is that every single time you copy a bench or you like use it again, like you're trying to place it again, it resets not just the rotation, but also the color. Like it resets that for trash cans, benches, and tables. And it's just really, really annoying. And I really, really hope that the really nice folks at Frontier fix this problem. Another issue that I have is it seems like every time I try to move something using the advanced move arrows, it like free moves it. Like I'm trying to grab the arrows too close to where they meet, and it just like moves it freely. And That's also annoying. By the way, this clock you can find on the workshop. I will leave a code below. It's just really annoying to be trying to move something using advanced move, and then you use that like free move tool. I think I've like genuinely used it once, and that was like for, I believe, the art shapes in the Plaza. And while I do sound like I have a lot of issues with this game, I'm in love with this game. Like, this game is really amazing. I do think it could have had a little bit more time in development. It's still such a huge step up from the first game. Like, I went back to it a couple of days ago to compare what we have in this game and in the first game, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I kind of found the old UI to be a little bit clunky and weird, even though this game's UI is clunky and weird. But I'm just so used to this game's UI, and also there's so many features in this game that we didn't have in the first game that it's impossible to go back to. Like scaling, how did we live without scaling in the first game? How? Now working on the interior for this building, and I believe they're called rafts. They hold up the roof. They're just like little suspension thingies that go across the ceiling, and I like the look of them. So I decided to put them in this building. I'm not sure if I said this before, but I actually forgot to put the ceiling in this building and didn't notice until like a few hours later in the recording. So I'm going to put the roof back on and just not really notice that I forgot to put the ceiling in. But I do come back and actually fix it. And then I use these aquatic pieces that I actually used on the train a lot. These pieces carried the train. If these pieces weren't in the game, then that train would not be outside the station. I think I say this in the live portion of this video, but I used these resort posters, and I would have loved to use Christmas posters, but since we don't have TMTK in this game, which is understandable, these resort posters are all we got. Now, I know it doesn't really fit in, however, it's something to fill the walls. I probably should have put some sort of wall trim, but I didn't. I just didn't think of it. Didn't let my inner Sims player come out with this building. But yeah, now we're just adding lighting. It does make it look like a dingy warehouse, but that doesn't matter. Now we're changing the colors of the carousel from blue and yellow to red, green, and gold. I do think that yellow would actually look nicer than the gold. The gold's kind of puke colored, so I might change that. Adding more snow in front of the station and more snowmen. I did actually get the idea to put Jack Frost somewhere in this plaza. If you don't know what Jack Frost looks like, I'll throw an image of him up right now. So if you want to see that, then let me know. Lucky for you, you get to watch another video of me designing the interior for a building and moving the camera around like a complete madman. Anyways, we're working on the bathrooms by the gelato stand, and I tried my best to make the interior a little bit realistic. However, it's hard to design interiors in this game, okay? Or at least not with minimal effort. Now I'm trying to make some sort of water fountain. I played around with a few different things before settling on the half sphere art shape, and then I use the stone guess to get the scale right. Um, I wish I put a little bit more detail into this, but it's hard hiding it all. So I just used a TV mount for the actual like fountain part that shoots out water. Now we're putting in more resort art that does not fit in with the rest of the park, and putting in more rafts. And that is when I noticed that I forgot to put in the ceiling for the cafe. So once I'm done with this, I do go back and put the ceiling in, and the interior looks much, much better. Now, starting the last thing that we will be doing today, and the thing that will finish this entrance plaza, a spot where you can buy Christmas trees. Now, originally, I was really struggling to find out what I wanted to put in that spot. Don't mind this part. But I was just like, wait, Christmas trees, and we're in the Taiga. We can just sell Christmas trees, and that can be one of our sources of income. So I did think of that, and that's what I put in here. I actually had a particularly hard time connecting the field with the path, with it still being like looking like you can just throw it in during the winter time. And also with the Christmas trees, even shrinking it down to the smallest size, it was still way too big. So I had to sink it in the ground a little bit. That means that there's no stump, but it doesn't look bad. I think that in the end, it still looks really good, and I'm really happy with the end result. Now I'm just trying to add some variety between the trees, making some of them taller, making some of them shorter, making some of them wider, and adjusting their rotation, and also fixing their positions, because when you scale them like that, their positions are shook. Over there in the corner are our top trees that grew the tallest for all the rich people. And now I'm using the paint terrain tool to make it look like they actually planted these things here. And I also use it to look like the paths in between the trees are actually walked on, using a combination of compact soil, gravel, and dry dirt. You can see here I'm trying to fix the path and at least make it look like it's not as permanent of a fixture, and I do that by just simply removing the curb and having the actual like natural path connect to the path instead of having the normal path connect to the natural path. Now we're working on just making the whole entrance to this Christmas tree area just look nicer by adding a snowman out front, and we're also adding a sign for the Christmas tree place, which you can see me work on now. By the way, these wooden pillars are probably some of the best pieces in the game. I would not be able to live without these pieces. Thank you, Frontier, for not just adding these, but adding them in different lengths. I love you. Next, we're adding a little place to get food because I really feel like a few picnic tables in this like open area would look really nice. So we're adding hot dogs, and for some reason I put in the stand backwards and it took me ages to realize. But once I do, we actually end up finishing that stand. We add the picnic tables and the little building that you can purchase your trees from. Now we return to the North Cafe because I got a notification that there was a lot of trash in the park, and I completely forgot to add trash cans at this quote unquote restaurant. So I had trash cans here, and I remember to put in the ceiling finally. And I do gotta say, the interior for this building looks miles better with this ceiling in. I do kind of wish I left that old birch color but no, we changed it to a more oak color. And now we are working on the little building that you can buy the trees from. Originally, I was trying to do these Viking wall, or use these Viking wall pieces. However, for some reason, when you add darker colors to them, the brown color stays. So I had to change to these modern, very clean looking pieces. And originally, I only wanted to be one block, or at least 4 meters thick, sorry. But it just doesn't look good with the wall only being slanted up. So I do change it to be thick, 8 meters thick. And I use this corrugated roof. This is probably my favorite roof piece in the game, but I never use it. I just love how janky it looks. I love building janky parts and janky things. Anyways, now we're working on... I'm changing the color to make it a little bit darker. My inspiration for this park was that one Disney Mickey short where Pete owns this like Christmas tree place and Mickey works there and he's trying to get enough money to like buy Minnie a pendant of some kind. So that's what this is inspired off of. At least that's what I'm going off of in my head, and so that's where this building is kind of coming from. I felt like this back wall was a little bit plain, so I actually added these festive lights on it, and I added them at different angles. Looked like they just kind of threw it up, and that actually wraps up this video, and we're going to be going to the live portion. So I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you all then. Welcome back, everyone, to the park. Now, not a lot has changed from the last episode. I mean, you saw what I added. But before we start, I did add a little bit of things off camera. This is probably the biggest thing. I just simply added this transition, make it a little bit nicer, and yeah. So starting off with the new things, we have Gary Chad's Christmas tree. You can buy your Christmas trees here, take them home. Over here is like the clearance tree section. They're kind of small, but the rest of them are pretty big. And then all the way over here, we got our star Christmas trees for the rich people. Coming over, we changed the colors for the carousel. I wasn't a huge fan of the blue and gold. I didn't think that it fit very well, so we switched it to festive Christmas colors. I might do a little bit more editing, I'm not sure. Over here, this was originally supposed to be a gift shop, however now it is not. I might still make it a gift shop, I'm not sure, but we'll have to see. Coming over here, we have that marketplace section that I was talking about earlier. You can get hot cocoa, snow cones, skewers, and Viva La Vegan. I was having a bit of trouble setting up these lights connecting to the building. However, we still got that really cool effect that we have over there, and I might copy it right here. And toilets. I would have loved to like put Christmas art in here, but we just don't have any. And then we also have really janky water fountains right here. And now for the star part of the episode, the North Cafe. Obviously inspired off the Polar Express. I'm not done with the train. I still have to make the coal train and then the passenger trains. But the actual cafe itself is done. Probably off camera, I'll come back and add like bottles back here and stuff. But for now, this is what we got. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video and are enjoying the series so far. I will see you all in the next one.